Welcome to episode 499, Paul Getty, richest man in the world, world record womanizer, world record art collector. This is an outline of episode 499. The most important lesson we learn from Paul Getty: most rich people have lazy and dysfunctional kids. Let us meet Paul Getty.
Must be some factors there that are not too well recognized. Probably a sense of timing and a sense of proportion. Probably has something to do with it. Some people who are very brilliant, never able to distinguish the possible from the impossible. That's one thing. If a man is going to make success, he has to start with something that's possible for him to do. If he has an impossible objective, well, then he's not going to be successful.
He was born in Minneapolis in 1892 to very rich parents.
His father had enough money to be able to travel in comfort to Europe. And so as a young boy, he was exposed to places of historic, cultural, and architectural interest.
Well, I can't say that I was particularly interested in art until I went to Europe the first time in 1909. I went to museums, saw some of the great buildings of Europe. I took an interest in art at that time. I've never lost it. I first got oil myself in 1916.
The young Getty had hoped to become a diplomat, but striking oil and quick riches trumped diplomacy.
By 1968, Getty's fortune exceeded $1 billion.
Among my database of more than 3,000 self-made billionaires, Paul Getty holds the world record of having married and divorced 5 times.
At the age of 25, he found himself in the midst of a paternity suit filed by Elise Ekstrom, who claimed that he was the father of her newborn daughter. Although his lawyers tried to make her seem like a promiscuous woman, she did get $10,000 as a settlement, which in 1917 was quite a lot of money. He went on to father 5 sons from 4 of his marriages. Number 4. He was one of the richest Americans. There's much more to be said about J. Paul Getty's life and fortune. Although he has over the years faded slightly from our public memory, the American-British industrialist was well known as the richest man in the history of the world. He received the title in 1957 when Fortune magazine identified him as the wealthiest American, and was reportedly worth more than $1.2 billion in the year 1966. If he actually lived in 2017, that would have been an astonishing $9.05 billion.
And now the kidnapping of his grandson in 1973. Paul Getty took 5 months to bargain with the kidnapper in Italy. He bargained down the demand from $17 million to $2.7 million. He wanted to make sure that the ransom is tax deductible, and also he would deduct the ransom from his grandson's inheritance. A lot is known how Paul Getty discovered oil in Oklahoma, but Paul Getty is one of the best global investors. I give you 2 examples here. First, Saudi oil. Second, Cancun in Mexico.
Getty paid Ibn Saud $9.5 million in cash and $1 million a year for a 60-year concession to a tract of barren land near the border of Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. No oil had ever been discovered there.
He discovered Cancun in the 1930s when it was a fishing village, and he began building hotels and made lots of money from Cancun. Paul Getty also became an important author. His most famous book, How to Be Rich. I read this book many, many times.
Though he was worth tens of millions of dollars at the time. He was well known for bargaining on almost everything to obtain a rock-bottom price, including for suites at luxury hotels and virtually all purchases like artwork and real estate.
The legacy of Paul Getty.
Manor. Paul Getty died at the age of 83. His children and former wives fought bitterly over the inheritance of his fortune in court, but ultimately the bulk of his billions went to the Paul Getty Museum for the diffusion of artistic and general knowledge. Today, the Getty Museum, based in Los Angeles, is the most richly endowed museum on Earth.
What have I learned today? 3 things. First, money can buy a happy family, especially after 5 divorces and 60-plus years of womanizing. Second, Getty left behind one of the best private art collection museum in the world. Third, Getty wrote down his wealth wisdom in books, and his wealth principles remain forever relevant. Thank you for watching. Please leave your questions and comments below. My next video will be John Paul Getty 10 Lessons. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.